Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're ranking all the playmaking badges in NBA 2K20 in tiers F through S. So F at the bottom, S at the top. If you got any disagreements with where I put these badges on the list, feel free to let me know, leave your comment. If you do enjoy the video, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. And without further ado, let's get straight into this. We're going to keep this real straightforward and quick. So anyway, at the very bottom of the list, we got 3 badges, and like I said, we're gonna go one tier at a time. We got Dream Shake, Pass Fake, Maestro, and Stop and Go. Now, this one right here, you could maybe debate. Honestly, I'm not a big believer in this badge. I don't even think it works at all, but some of my guards that I play with, they believe in it to some extent, and they be using it on bronze occasionally, and I'm like, yo, that just means that you truly don't believe in it. And honestly, I don't think anybody in this game believes in this badge. Now, it'd be a cool badge if they made it work and like function properly, and again, this is just my opinion. Let me know if you have like a different experience with Stop and Go, but for the most part, this one I feel like is a big myth. And then these two obviously have no function at all. Pass Fake, Maestro, what's the point? Dream Shake, I suppose in like MYCAREER, but again, against users, that badge don't even really function in the slightest. So we're just gonna move along with that. Again, these F tier badges are ones that truly do not work. Now, as far as E tier, we got Break Starter on its own. Now, my reasoning for putting this so low, it doesn't compare, in my opinion, to the badges up here, especially at the fact that the only one that it's truly needed in is probably Team Pro-Am, and even at that, with my big man, I consider it a big man. It's a 6'9 forward. Yeah, I get it. I still have 94 block and 92 defensive rebounds. So my whole point is, and I'm 6'9 with 85 vert. My whole point is, with a build like that, I don't need Break Starter. I understand this may be a little biased coming from my standpoint. If it's for a 7'3 pure rim, you may want this a little bit higher on your list. But again, as far as like the playmaking badges go, the 7'3 pure rims don't even get that badge in the slightest. So again, when you're talking everybody just in general, point guards don't need this badge in the slightest at all. You know, anybody with around 70 pass accuracy just at all doesn't need this badge, in my opinion. And it's just not completely necessary, but I can see why you would still want it, especially if you play constantly a lot of rec and like Team Pro-Am, and that's really your only role. You don't need any quick first step, you don't need any bailout, you don't need anything like that. So I guess I can understand why a big man with one playmaking badge would maybe want a Break Starter. So moving along to D tier, we got Lob City Passer, Downhill, and Ankle Breaker. This is where it starts getting pretty good. So this one right here, I may be sleeping on. I use this on gold at all times with my build as well. And, you know, obviously when I'm playing on 3s. Now, the thing that brings it down, this doesn't really function in the slightest on 2s. I understand I've had comments talking about, LakerFan, it works on 2s. Yeah, for checking the ball out off a rebound, which doesn't really get you anywhere, in my opinion. Like, it's not gonna be worth putting your playmaking badge point on just to run out to the 3-point line faster. So anyway, that's just my take on it. But obviously, you know, when it comes to 3v3, it's very useful, but also it's only going to be functional a couple times in a game, so you can't really control when it activates quite as much as you would any of these other badges. Now, the thing about Ankle Breaker, I feel like you can get ankle breakers pretty easy in this game, especially if you have the Playmaker takeover. Now, I don't know if it's credited to Ankle Breaker. That's the thing. Space Creator creates half the snatchback ankle breakers that I even get in the first place, and I just don't know what to think of this badge. I understand a lot of y'all may think that I am kind of sleeping on it and it's pretty low for being in the D tier. Like I said, just let me know if you would have any disagreements with this list and you think Ankle Breaker belongs higher. As far as the other two, I'm pretty secure in where I put them though. Lob City Passer, alley-oop passes are very OP in this game, but again, it's kind of the same thing as Break Starter. It's like, I want y'all to understand, don't misconstrue the whole, like, I think Break Starter is trash, when really it's just deep outlet passes are good. Same with Lob City Passer. Alley-oop passes are very accurate and very good, but you don't need the badge to be accurate with it. It's like, if they made it harder to actually make the function of throwing a lob or throwing a full court pass, then these badges would be more useful. But again, in my opinion, you don't need them quite as much. But Lob City Passer is a solid badge, but it's nowhere near, you know, any of these ones at the top right here. So moving along, you can see I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about tight handles, and we'll address this in a sec. But anyway, tight handles, obviously this has been kind of nerfed a little bit with the nerf of the behind the back as well, just in the sense that that was the one move that this thing truly worked really well on. And I will say it's still a sort of effective badge, but just the fact that, you know, the behind the back has been nerfed pretty hard. Like, it's been taken out of people's repertoires pretty much completely. I've seen, you know, with this new update, like within like the last couple days, where they kind of touched up the behind the back a little bit. They made it a little bit faster. It's sort of effective, and that's the only thing that's really keeping this badge alive, in my opinion. Because like I said, this badge right here with tight handles, it literally relies on the behind the back, because there's really not too many other moves that, you know, stun your defender like that. And blessed that they fixed that, because honestly that was the one thing that made those point guards unguardable, was literally just the tight handles. Now, to speak on that real quick, if they would just bring the behind the back like back to where it was before, but just nerf tight handles completely and just take this badge out of the game, then honestly the behind the back wouldn't even been that OP. This is a great badge, but like I said, there's not many instances where it actually activates and works. So anyway, moving along to the B tier. I was gonna explain to y'all how I have unpluckable. It's kind of a tweener. I have it between C and B, because I don't think it's as good as these 3 badges, and it's definitely better than tight handles. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, create the separation here. So my thing on unpluckable, we'll start with that first, because it's kind of in the C tier range as well. So my thing with unpluckable, it's so wishy-washy. Like, you need the badge, don't be wrong, but you get really irritated when you do get poked like constantly and multiple times, especially with good ball control. But again, it's just a kind of necessity badge. You don't really use this to like take advantage of somebody like you would say bailout, you know, because this is a badge you can really take advantage of. This one is more of a necessity. Like I said, you just flat out need the badge if you're somebody that has like good dribbling ratings to really solidify just your spamming dribble moves essentially. Now, if you're somebody that keeps it real simple, doesn't do much like, you know, right stick movement or even LT hezzies and stuff like that, you don't really need this badge at the highest level. If you're just very up and down, you know, you know, all the people be, you know, talking down on the people who left, right, or like, you know, rim run. Really, you just don't need this badge if you do a lot of left, right, or rim run. So anyway, moving along to the B tier, we got post spin, needle threader, and bailout. Honestly, I may be sleeping on bailout. I think it's definitely the best of these 3 right here. Needle threader is a very good one as well. Post spin is probably the worst B tier badge in my opinion if I had to rate them. So as in like bailout is the best, needle threader is the next, then post spin, and then obviously I have unpluckable in between. So obviously that shows where I care about it. But as far as post spin, it's very good still. It's just, again, post scores are kind of like in the, you know, in no man's land, where it's just, you don't really need to do post spins. Honestly, like a lot of these dudes, they'll just keep on pivoting their ball hand and it just pushes you down like that. You don't really need to use post spins to work your way down into the paint. Same with like, you know, as far as using it as an effective way to score, you don't really need to do that either. You just constantly post hook and post fade and they don't get contested. And it's just, I don't know, at the end of the day, this isn't a big deal when it comes to post scoring. Needle threader, again, great badge. It really lets you get away with a lot of passes. If you are a big man that doesn't really value break starter, I would say this is a solid badge for Team Pro-Am as well, just to equip, just for when you dive to the paint and then you make a quick pass to the corner or something like that, or just in general trying to get the ball to your point guard in an unsafe situation when you don't want the ball in your hand. Same goes for threes. Again, this is a good solid badge to have. I think it's a really good one on bronze as well. And speaking of good on bronze, this is the best bronze badge in the game, in my opinion, right here. Bronze bailout is by far the best bronze badge in the game. Now, the higher you go on the badge, the more your teammate is going to be able to shoot off the pass and just, you know, not get an ugly catch animation, essentially. But bronze bailout is going to allow you to make probably 98 or 99 out of 100 of your passes out of shots, unless you're like literally uncorking that thing all the way back to half court to the top of the key from your from the paint to your point guard. But as long as you're just going from like paint to corner or jump shot to wing or even jump shot to paint, you're usually pretty good. As long as you're not twisting your body and like going out of your way to contort your body, then you're usually pretty good with that. So again, I think bailout is probably the best B tier badge that we have on here. Now, as you can see, we got 5 in the A tier. I could not put any of these higher or any of these lower. In my opinion, these 5 are really solidified in this A spot, where they don't belong with this one badge that's up here, and they don't belong anywhere near these other ones, unless it's maybe Needle Threader. Again, you can make the case that maybe Needle Threader could be an A tier, but we'll just move right along with this. So you got really 2 of these pairs that go hand in hand. So you got like Dimer and Floor General, and then Handles for Days and Space Creator, 2 dribbling badges, 2 passing badges. And then speaking of a passing badge, this one is very different from like Dimer and Floor General, however, but Flashy Passer can be dominant if used right. And honestly, bro, I would have been, if you would have shown me this video like 6 months ago when it was still 2K19 and told me that Flashy Passer was going to be an OP badge, I would have laughed. I would have just been dead. I'll just put it like that. But anyway, to just explain, bro, Flashy Passer, you know, if you pass it to your teammate and your teammate dunks the ball, all it takes is 2 dunks like that to get takeover. Or if he's a sharpshooter, it just takes two jump shots. It's crazy, bro. And same with like if you have takeover booster, I believe all it takes is 2 and you can have this on gold. But yeah, Hall of Fame, even without takeover booster, still gives you takeover in literally 2 dunks, whatever it pertains to your takeover more. But anyway, you get the deal. Then like I said, floor general, great one to carry. Raises your teammates' attributes by 4. If you have it on Hall of Fame, obviously you can see your teammates' percentages too. That's not the biggest deal, but just the fact that it can raise your teammates' ball control if you have like a halfway point guard on your team that needs the higher ball control. Or at the end of the day, like I said, the 3-pointer boost. And that kind of goes hand in hand with Dimer. If you have somebody on your team that's using floor general, most likely he has Dimer too. These two go hand in hand. Obviously, it just helps your team be more successful, and it's just being a team player carrying these badges. So, Handles for Days and Space Creator. Obviously, this one deals more with like the true point guard. This one is more for like 2v2 type stuff where you're like making people, it's honestly like what ankle breaker should be. I'll just put it like that. But this badge is really good. It's honestly like you can really abuse it too. And this one, again, to go back to the whole bailout is something you can use, unblockable is more of a necessity. Handles for Days is more of a necessity. Space Creator is something that you can use and like, you know, take advantage of and just use to your advantage essentially. Now, this right here is both. You need this badge and you can use it to your advantage. So if the only time you shouldn't equip this badge is if you have literally 1 badge point and you're like a 7'3" big man or 7-foot big man that, like I said, has 1 badge point and has like no ball control. That's the only time you probably shouldn't equip this badge and put on something like Bailout or Break Starter instead, or Needle Threader. But for any build that is competent with dribbling, like if you have more than 60 ball control or even more than 50, honestly, definitely put that thing in the quick first step. Obviously, every point guard is going to use this at the highest ability that they can. That's just how the badge works. It's a great badge. It's a very, like, it's just the glue to every dribbler, and that's just how it works. So anyway, no further explanation needed on that. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. If you made it to the end of the video, put badge in the comments to show your support that you made it all the way through. And if we could get this to like 500 likes in the first 24 hours, I'd really appreciate that. 1,000 likes in the first week, if we can make that happen as well, if you're watching this video, you know, in the future. But anyway, like I said, other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you're new, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. And other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.